Welcome back to AM Northwest. You know, confidence is key when it comes to building a career, but self-confidence may be even more important. Here to share why the latter is necessary to achieve the results you want, we welcome back career strategist and personal brand expert, Dr. Parker Walsh. How you doing this morning?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Let's talk about the difference between confidence and self-confidence. I thought they were the same.
Yes, and most people do think they are the same, but they are absolutely not. And what I always try to explain it to my clients, I always say confidence is a verb and self-confidence is a belief. So what I mean by that, confidence comes from the things, the actions you've taken, the things that you've done and achieved in your past. And so because you've done them in the past, you feel confident about your ability to do that in the future. But self-confidence is a belief in things that you've never done before. It's a belief that you can do things that are new to you, that are new opportunities or new experiences, are new things that you have no idea what's going to happen at the other end of it, but you have a belief that I can actually make this happen. Now, in some ways, we can pull from our experiences of the past to fuel that belief, meaning, you know, you may hear women say, well, if I can have a baby, I could do anything.
Yeah.
Right? You know, so we can look at experiences that we've had in the past. They may not be exactly like the opportunity or the experience that we're going after, but we can say, well, this was similar, or this was challenging, or I overcame these challenges these ways. So maybe I can rely on some of that to help me understand that I could do something different in the future. So that's the difference. Confidence comes from things that you've already done. It's like a no-brainer. I did it. I could do it. But self-confidence is a belief in something you've never done before. It's in a lot of ways helping you think about creating a future that you never had. And you don't want to rely on what didn't work in the past to make you think you can't do something in the future. Because again, that's not self-confidence, because you want to believe that maybe if it didn't work in the past, it doesn't mean it can't work in the future. So it's all about your belief system and how you approach the opportunity, very different than anything else you've done before.
So let's say, and I'm sure you have a lot of female clients who are thinking, whoa, okay, how do I build my self-confidence?
Yes. So there's three components to it. And the first one we have to understand is that you're going to have to embrace discomfort and embrace stress. And what I mean by that is, you know, and I know someone was on earlier talking about the brain, but neuroscience, neuroplasticity, neuropsychology for the brain, the brain is wired to like comfort and to avoid change and to avoid anything that is uncertain or discomfortable. Because there's a motivational triad that our brain lives in, which is to always seek pleasure, avoid pain, and maintain the status quo. At all times, our brain is operating in those three areas. And so anytime you present something new or different, that the brain's like, wait a minute, that's not what we've done before. That's new or different. And our brain, because it's still in a primitive state, still thinks that by doing things that are causing us discomfort or pain, that something must be wrong. It's what triggers the fight-flight response in the amygdala that says, whoa, you know, you're going down a dark alley, something horrible will happen. And you have to be able to let your brain know it's not a dark alley, it's just a new opportunity. Somebody asked me a question. It's not as bad as it is, but we have to understand our brain is designed to protect us from uncertainty. So we're going to feel discomfort. We're going to feel stress around trying something that we've never done before. So what we have to learn to do is normalize it. Just to say, okay, well, if I'm feeling stress and discomfort, I must be on the right track. Not that, oh, this must be a sign I shouldn't do it. So we're going to experience it. So we just need to understand it, embrace it, and just manage our emotion around it while we're still taking steps forward.
You were talking about how our brain is looking for a how.
Yes. I call it the treachery of how, because we're always looking for a manual, right? We're looking for the how-to. It's why there's millions of self-help books and trying to explain to you every step and every decision you'll ever make, trying to give you the information, because we want to know the how before we jump into it. But you have to think of it this way. If you knew how, is it a new challenge? I mean, it's not something that you've never done before if you know how. So we have to embrace this concept that I'm going to figure it out, right? The how comes in the doing. the reason that we were able to have our confidence in things that we've done, we weren't confident probably when we started. We have to remember that. We learned in the process. And once we figured it out, that's where confidence gets built. So it's the same process here. So let go of the treachery of how. Don't think about, well, how am I going to do it? Just start creating a plan and start implementing and executing. And some things will fail. And let me just be honest, some things won't work because you don't know how, right?
Yeah.
And some things will work. And so you have to learn how to redefine your idea of failure, understanding it's just a learning process. Things that don't work, you're like, okay, well, let me try this. And things that do work, you lean in and do more of it. So
And
you have got to release the treachery of how.
And I was also release the negative thinking.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, it's funny what Tammy was talking about earlier. It is true. I always say what you think about, you bring about.
Yeah.
So if your thoughts are negative, like this is going to be hard, or it's not going to work, or it's not going as expected, or, you know, it's just not possible for me, that's what you're going to create. So if you go into it with all of that negative thinking, as soon as you get faced with something, you're going to default to that. And you're going to create that experience for yourself. Because every step of the way, you're going to be thinking, well, it's not going to work, or it's not going like I thought. Like if we go in with an intention and expectations, then what's going to happen when they don't follow through in the process of whatever we're doing with our career, we're going to think something's wrong with us, or this isn't right, or what's wrong. But we're just going to keep repeating that process and creating those same results over and over again. Yeah. So we have to let go of this negative thinking, because what you think about, you bring about. Yeah. So instead of thinking it's not going to work, it's hard, it's not what I expected, we could think this is new, I've never done this before, so I'm just going to kind of go with it and see what happens.
See what happens. There you go. Dr. Carol Parker Walsh, you're the best. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll be